And good evening. Welcome to our first edition of See Players Now. I'm your host, Sarah Daly, and I'm very excited about being a part of this team that will be bringing you up close and personal looks at some of the area's best student athletes.
See Players Now is sponsored by McDonald's, Elite Football Academy, Farmers Insurance the Husbands Agency, Law Offices of Susan L. Ward, Dirty Dog, Fit for Life Sports Rehab, and Priya Sony with Herman London Group.
I'm Jamison Williams. I attend Cardinal College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She get me loose when I'm running my routes. I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
Thank you for joining us on See Players Now. We have some unbelievable student athletes that we will be highlighting on today's show. Of course, we also have so many kids performing at such a high level and really putting St. Louis on the map for producing and nurturing some incredible talent. Of course, joining me in the studio to kick off this conversation about this talent is Raphael Merriweather, a longtime youth football and baseball coach at Matthews Dickey's Boys and Girls Club. And also part of our studio squad joining us this evening is Earl Austin of the St. Louis American. Good evening, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Fine. Very good, Sarah.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So, of course, talent produced in the metro area is growing, or is it really just being recognized? Because we're not just seeing it in some of the local sports, but hockey and other sports that St. Louis really hasn't been known for.
I think it's a combination of both. St. Louis area has always produced tremendous talent in all sports, going back to the 60s, 70s, even the 50s. But now you see it being more recognized, not only on the local, regional, but the national level. We have athletes going on to perform in the Olympics, the World Series, and I think you see more kids having more opportunity at the grassroots level. People like Raphael, who's done a great job nurturing these kids at an earlier age. They're exposed to national competition. So when they get to that high school and that collegiate level, they're ready to go, and they really produce and really put St. Louis on the map and keep them there too.
Do you think it really is nurturing at a younger age, or do you think it's something different that these kids are getting exposure for, I guess, like he said, on a national level?
No, I think, like Earl said, it's the foundation in all of the sports. You look now at hockey, it's the same in baseball, football, basketball. The kids are getting so much extra training and all the one-on-one tutelage. That's what's making the game more, making us blossom even more as athletes around the country. And the other thing is social media is actually helping our guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's touch on boys track, right? We've got some talented people here, especially Justin Robinson out of Hazelwood West, and he's really turning some heads.
Unbelievable talent. He was on the USA under-20 squad as a 16-year-old sophomore last year and ran on a 4x400 meter relay, got a silver medal, and now he's got some of the best times in the country, especially in the 400 meter dash. He's an unbelievable young man.
And of course, out of Collinsville, we have Jamarian Stewart, who's also producing some great numbers.
Yeah, he's running about 10.6 seconds in the 100-meter dash. He's one of the best in the state of Illinois in 200 meters. Joshua Sutton of MICDS, and then a young man named Jamison Williams from Cardinal Ritter. He's going to Ohio State to play football, but he's a tremendous track and field athlete. He led him to a state championship last year in Class 3, and Comeric Winston of Trinity, also a tremendous sprinter as well on the boys' side.
What type of training programs do these track athletes go through? Because, of course, here, there's snow all the time. There's all types of cold weather where they're not really outside all the time to improve some of that environment that they're typically used to training on or performing on.
Well, from what I know, like USA is a track club here in St. Louis. They do a lot of indoor training now. So the kids are starting, everything is just about a 12-month participation now.
Right. So does that make it difficult to be a multi-sport athlete? Or do you think that it's better for a young student who can perform at an elite level to focus on one sport?
I think studies have shown now, they just went with the NFL draft of the first round, first 2 or 3 rounds. A majority of those athletes were multi-sport athletes. But we do have a lot of specialization. There, you really do. There's no doubt about it. Guys are playing and girls are playing year-round. But specialization, he coached Ezekiel Elliott. He was a great basketball and track athlete as well as a great football player. But I think the more sports you play, I think it really helps you as well.
Well, and I can contest to that because this past year in the Final Four for football in the national championship, the 4 teams that were in the final, 75% of the athletes were multi-sport athletes. And that was something that I read up on this past winter, and I was amazed by that.
That's very interesting because sometimes you see don't start them so young so hard because it might hinder their development or something like that, but then you see focusing on it and building that foundation is now kind of proving otherwise, correct?
Yeah, I think if you're doing different things, you're less likely to burn out on a particular sport.
Right.
Now, you still great athletes like a Jason Tatum, who has been a basketball player through his whole life, and he's a tremendous basketball player with the Celtics now. But you see kids, I think at a young age, I want to see kids do as many things as possible. Try soccer, try baseball, softball, football, basketball. Because at an early 6, 7, 8 years old, it's supposed to be fun with your friends, eat ice cream, go out after the game,
Right.
and enjoy yourself. And then once you start to get serious about it, there are avenues, whether it's JFL football and the more serious avenues that you can go in that direction, really develop and hone in on what you want to do at the next level.
And speaking back on boys track, you also have Joshua Sutton from MICDS, and then we can talk about some of the girls. But what type of talent does Joshua put on the scale nationally?
Josh is a tremendous young athlete. He's a state champion in 100 and 200 in Class 4. He's a little guy. He's only about 5'4", about 120 pounds, but he can fly. He's going to Tulsa University to run track and field next year.
And talking about some of the ladies, like we mentioned, you have Alicia Burnett from Parkway North, also Michelle Owens from McClure North, and Madison Fuller, who represents John Burroughs.
Yeah, Madison Fuller is an excellent sprinter. She's dealt with injuries for the last 2 years, but she was a state champion as a freshman in the 100 and 200 meter dash. She's going to Vanderbilt. Michelle Owens is the top hurdler in the state of Missouri, and Alicia Burnett is probably the top sprinter in the state of Missouri. She was a freshman, 100, 200, 400 state champion. Sat out last year as a transfer, but she's back at Parkway North. She'll be one of the best to watch this year.
And another sport that's really starting to turn some heads here in the St. Louis area is volleyball. And a lot of the youth development programs are starting to rise to the occasion and put some stars out there. So what exactly is putting St. Louis on the map when it comes to the sport of volleyball?
Well, I hate to keep beating the dark horse over and over again, but it's about the training,
Right.
getting the opportunity. And they're doing it in every sport. You have to, it's the most important thing about athletes is to get a great foundation and the training, and that's what's separating us now. We're keeping up with the country.
Is it the knowledge of the trainers that are starting to apply different techniques? Because a lot of trainers, like you said, we've had athletes coming out of St. Louis for a very long time.
Well, that and the trainers are not just staying local. So now not only are the trainers are going out seeing and learning other things. Every day there's a guy learning a new trick.
Right.
And when you learn something new, they're bringing it back home. And all the different coaching clinics that the coaches are attending, this is helping all the coaches and everything too.
All right, so we also have Ezekiel Elliott, who is a very well-known St. Louis athlete, and you saw something in him, Rayfield, that you just knew he had to be pushed a little bit, put on the national spectrum, and was going to be a star.
Yes, the time that I realized that Ezekiel was special, he was about, I'm going to say 9 or 10 years old, and we were playing in a national championship in Florida. And in the game, you guys wear a certain type of shoe in football, and one of the guys we were playing against had on the wrong type of shoes. And the ref stopped the game and told him he couldn't wear those shoes, or the kid didn't have any more cleats to wear. But at that time, I told all my guys to make sure they bring their practice cleats and their game shoes. Mm-hmm. So Zeke was standing next to me, and he tapped me on my shoulder, and he said, "Coach, I have my practice shoes. I would like to see if he can fit them." So he ran out on the field, stopped the game, told the ref he had the shoes, gave the guy his shoes, and as soon as the guy put his shoes on, he ran about a 70-yard touchdown. I turned around and looked at Zeke. I said, "Zeke," He said, "Don't worry, coach." I got up the right shoes and went on to win. But my point is, he wanted to compete against the best then. And, you know, he was a multi-sport athlete. But I coached Zeke in baseball, football, and basketball. In basketball, he wasn't a starting athlete. And that's the other thing that let me know he kept competing to be with those guys. And you could see the heart and the drive that he had. And most important was his family. They didn't bother me. They got out of the way. They gave me their kid to coach and let me coach. And a lot of the guys that I see successful, the parents tend to get out the way and say, "Coach."
And that's hard.
That's a whole
hard,
nother show,
hard,
too.
right? That's a whole other topic that we will tackle. We won't tackle that one tonight. And since we are talking about unbelievable talent that is showing up everywhere, coast to coast, how about two dynamic athletes that are not just in one household, but they're also at one school? Our very own Kalia Collier will sit down with the Bufords from Lutheran North High School.
So I have two superstars here with me from Lutheran North. One school, same household. This is incredible. How are we doing today, Maddie and Jack?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm so excited to be with you guys today. So I'm gonna jump right into it.
Okay.
How do two competitors live under the same household? How do you guys get along?
It's kind of competitive, like, to see who gonna, like, get better grades or who do better on this test, or, like, we look at awards sometimes, but for real, we really just support each other. It ain't really no competition. It's just like, wow, who would have ever thought that me and you would have articles and stuff like this about us growing up? So it's just pretty like that.
Yeah.
So you got the big brother. He's giving you love and support. Are you giving it back, Maddie?
Yeah, I go to all his games. I don't miss a game. I love football myself. I used to play when I was younger, so I know all how it works and everything. But yeah, he comes to all my games too.
So how do you guys cheer for each other at games?
Oh, I be going stupid. Like, I go crazy for my
Just
sister.
intense.
I go off on the rails, all of that. They call that call.
I let them have it, you
Yeah.
know, so.
When you're this competitive and you're this talented, tell me, I want to hear from both of you, really, what does that dedication and passion look like? How do you keep going?
Well, every day you got to do the same thing. You got to make sure you on your work. You can't lack on your schoolwork, because if you do, you're going to start lacking on the field or on the court. So you got to take care of your schoolwork before you worry about sports. And I always did that as I got older and more competitive with sports.
So you felt yourself mature each year?
As I got older, yes.
Okay. Jack?
For me, it's keeping, like, God first and then just sticking to the script. So if you stick to the script, I mean, it may get a little shaky, but, like, you can't give up. Like, if you're doing something, like, not everything is going to be perfect. Nothing that we do in life is going to come perfectly. So, like, I mean, we can't just sit around and be like, oh, what if this happened? You just got to take your shot and go hit it. And then you just got to stick to it. And like I said, keep your circle small and keep God first. And I just feel like that's really all you got to do.
You two are the most level-headed seniors I've ever encountered, both incredibly impressive. You know, what is it that you two have enjoyed most out of your high school career?
I like being close to family. Like, all my aunties, uncles, grandmas can come to my games. It's going to be different in college. So I just like how in high school, all my family could be there. All the awards we got, I was with my brother. It's going to be hard not being with him next year. So that's what I loved about high school sports.
Yeah, I agree. I don't get to scare off people no more. They be around my sister, so that kind of bothers me. But but high school, like with my miss, it's like you don't get that like high school feeling back. Like high school games to me are like very fun. Like it's for the community, it's for the kids. Like anybody can really come, and I just like playing in front of my city, which is St. Louis. And I mean, they gonna see me playing at Mizzou, but like you don't get that feeling back of high school football or high school basketball. So.
Now, both of you clearly have big careers in your future. As you've made decisions, now you're on to the next chapter. What are you looking forward to the most?
For real, getting an education. Like I'm going to school for free on a full ride. Like it don't get no better than that. Like not every day a kid can say, "Oh, I'm going to school for free. Everything is paid for, living, books, all of that stuff." Like me and my sister been truly blessed with something that a lot of kids can't say that they have. So I'm really just looking forward to taking my opportunity and running with it and not giving up and really just not looking back and remembering all the good and the bad that has came with getting to this point.
Wow.
I use basketball as like somewhere to get me in like my education. So when I get older, basketball not always gonna be there. Once basketball gone, what you gonna do? My mom always told me like you have to always have a backup plan. What if basketball doesn't work out? So if you get a good education, you're gonna be good regardless without basketball because you're gonna be making money regardless. That's just all you gotta do.
I've heard both of you talk about how key education is, and it's amazing to see you all exemplify what it truly means to be a role model at such a young age. How do you look and pass that on to your peers?
I look back at like where I went wrong and like how I didn't give up. So like if it was like, say it's like studying for a test or something like that, I tell my peers like, you should study like before the test, like days before the test, not like right before the test. Like it'll be little stuff like that. I just learned that like you really do have to stick to the script and do what you say you're gonna do. So.
If you know you have a big game coming up or a late practice, I feel like you should do the work that's gonna be due the night before earlier, so you could get a good night's rest for your game, and you can also have your work finished.
So you talk about preparation, and especially big games, right? And that's one of the best things about sports is lights, camera, action, right?
Yeah.
Whether you're ready or not, the game is
That's
starting.
what we live for.
So what does that intensity and preparation look like for you the night before? And do you think that's going to change now as you transition into college?
No, I'm usually calm. I like big games. That's what I love the big games.
Spoken like a true competitor.
Yeah, I like playing against my friends. You know, it's just fun. I don't like playing against non-competition. It's not fun. It's boring. Like you're not trying. You're trying, but you're beating them. Like it's not fun. I like 1-point games, tie games, overtime, stuff like that.
Yeah, like I know before big games, I can't sleep at night. So like, I gotta turn on some jazz or something. You know, soothe. You know, chill out. Just think about what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and what I'm gonna do when I face adversity, or what I'm gonna do when we start winning, or if we down or not. Like I think about all the different like levels to the game that could happen, and I just try to like put myself in that position. Like, what am I gonna do here? Like, are we gonna stop? Are we gonna keep going? Like, you gonna be the leader you need to be every time? Because sometimes we all gotta repeat to ourselves and view out to ourselves what we gonna do. And I feel like if you make light of it and make a picture of what you're gonna do, like you draw your own picture that you can really live it. So that's what I try to do.
You know, we've talked and we've covered the intensity, what it is to be a competitor, what's next. But tell me what someone doesn't know about you. You know, they see you two, they see these superstars that are primed and ready to go into the next chapter. What do you want people to know about you?
I have a really soft side. Like, I'm really a nice person, but nobody will ever know that. Because I don't cry in front of nobody. My face always straight, especially when it comes to games. So, but I'm really a goofy person. That people don't know that unless my close friends, my coaches know as they got to know me. But you got to get to know me to get that side.
I can appreciate that, Maddie. Jack?
Yeah.
I feel like what people really don't know is like none of this stuff happened overnight. Like nothing was given to us. Like we put in the work for this. Like we took our time. We went through those like days of hell. Like we went through everything.
You've worked for it.
We worked for it. And I just want people to know like it's okay to go through things, but it's like I said before, how you handle it and if you're gonna stick to the script or not, because we all can fall off, but it's like how you get back on track, I feel like. So it's just like, for real, like I done went through anxiety. Like I'm not afraid to, you know, say it. Like that's why I wanna go into sports psychology.
Yeah.
To help people like realize that like it's normal to question yourself or question things. Like it's
and
just,
if you don't,
humans.
you're probably not.
Yeah, if you're not
we're
questioning
humans.
yourself, or if you're not nervous before a big game or something, then something gotta be wrong. Like you gotta feel some type of fire.
Everyone has butterflies.
Yeah, it's normal. Like people just gotta know that they gotta put themselves first, and they just gotta. And to me, I'm not sure how many people are religious, but if you keep God first, that can also keep you on track.
Jack, Maddie, I am beyond impressed with you two. I look forward to having the opportunity to hopefully interview you in some very short years of what's next in your big careers. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us and talking sports.
Thank you.
I'm Jamison Williams. I attend Cardinal College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She get me loose when I'm running my routes. I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert? Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
SeePlayersNow is sponsored by McDonald's, Elite Football Academy, Farmers Insurance, the Husbands Agency, Law Offices of Susan L. Ward, Dirty Dog, Fit for Life Sports Rehab, and Priya Sony with Herman London Group. Have a great story for us? Email us at spnstlouis@gmail.com. Go to SeePlayersNow.com for photos behind the scenes, and remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And of course, welcome back to See Players Now. Although the high school football season is still several months away, players are getting ready, prepping, and training. So it's now time to check in with Matt Bierman of Elite Football Academy, who will give us the elite player profile. Matt?
Although football season is months away, many athletes today are coming to us and asking what they can do to prepare for college showcases this summer. The answer is to start putting together a plan and start training as soon as possible so they show up prepared and ready to go. Brady Cook is a class of 2020 quarterback who is excellent both on the field and in the classroom. Brady is currently committed to the University of Missouri. Brady's spending the offseason working on developing the strength and speed that he is going to need his senior season, but also setting the stage for what he's going to need at the collegiate level. It's no longer that you can just show up ready to go. In college, you have to be prepared. So those are things that start in high school, and we're able to help athletes prepare through that process and set the stage for a successful college career. I'm Matt Bierman, and that's your elite player profile.
Baseball has been in full swing for Major League Baseball, that is, for quite some time now, but we do have a couple of folks here in the St. Louis area that maybe you consider under the radar, flying under the radar, extremely talented baseball players. Javion Johnson from Carnahan High School and also a young gentleman from CBC.
Yes, Travion Johnson is an excellent baseball player. He's about 6'1", weighs about 175 pounds. He's a pitcher, and he can play a little bit of the infield, but pitching is his specialty. The young man, you know, I was talking to him a couple weeks ago, and he was telling me that he's having problems finding someone to catch him when he's pitching. But he plays
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that's a good problem, and it's a bad problem. But he plays for my RBI program at Matthew Dickett at the St. Louis Cardinals sponsor, and the kid is just awesome. And he's definitely under the radar, as you would say. But I'm going to say, give him a year in college, and you will hear about him.
And what about the cadets? They have a rising star as well.
Well, this one's probably burst through the radar. His name is Christian Little. He's a sophomore pitcher from CBC. He's 6'4", long, and he already throws in probably the early mid-90s already. Yes. He's already committed to Vanderbilt University. David Price, Red Sox pitched, and several other great major leaguers. He's a good one. He's already pitched at the USA national level, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. If he doesn't get hurt and keeps everything going, you could probably hear his name being drafted in a couple of years.
Righty, lefty, starter, closer?
He's a right-hander. I watched him play earlier this year. He did like a four-hitter against DeSmit, a 2-1 game. Special talent.
All right. Well, Vanderbilt, you can't go wrong there. It's a great school. And a lot of St. Louis talent has come, baseball-wise, quite a few, compared to football and other sports.
And there's another young kid. He's a CBC kid, but he's a freshman. And he's a shortstop, a young man by the name of Aiden Robinson. And he's projected to be the starting quarterback next year as a sophomore. Oh. So this is a two-sport guy. Like you said, a multi-sport guys. This young man has made since he's in the last 2 years in the 7th and 8th grade coming up, he made what they call a perfect game all-star team, and you have to be, like I say, a special kid to make that team. He's been the only guy from this area to make the team the last couple of years, so he's been out on the circuit being seen by guys all over the country already.
All right, stick around, because when we come back, there is a very special athlete, a wide receiver to be exact, out of Kirkwood, that will be donning the Mizzou Tiger stripes.
Let me describe this player. Dangerous, dynamic, explosive. That player is Jarius Macklin, J-Mac. My alma mater, the University of Missouri, the Mizzou Tigers, has landed the big-time player making big-time plays, big-time games. J-Mac, welcome to the family. Let's go get it done.
And welcome back. Of course, we're going to hand it over now to our thoughts and prayers for a very special person, unfortunately, whose life was taken. Jalen McKenzie, guys, such a talented athlete and a tragic, tragic situation.
Amazing young man. He was just going into 9th grade next year, but he was already known on the national level. He's been featured in Sports Illustrated already as one of the top impact players going into high school, 13, 14 years old, a great football player. And to lose a young man in a violent manner is just a sad, shocking, tragic, very heartbreaking story you feel for his family and the East St. Louis community.
Rayfield?
Wow, this is a tough one. The young man, just like Earl said, he was a special kid. He had a gift, and the kid, I mean, if you had a chance to see him, he can run. A lot of times you don't see a young man that is as talented as this. They either have the speed or they don't have the ability. This young man had the speed and the ability. He was blessed to play in the 8th grade, unarmed 8th grade game this past year. And if I'm not wrong, he got MVP of the game. I mean, he's going to be missed. The young man touched a lot of people. And like I said, I'd like to give my condolences to the family.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Of course, next week, be sure to catch our McDonald's Soccer Scholar Athlete of the Week. Once again, I'm Sarah Daly, and we'll see you next time right here on See Players Now.
See Players Now is powered by Omni Sports Producers. Have a great story for us? Email us at spnstlouis@gmail.com. Go to SeePlayersNow.com for photos behind the scenes. And remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.